Hey! Are you one of those annoying guys who read Sun Tzu just so you could say you did? Do you always know just the right motivation to get your troops ready for battle?
Spartans! What is your profession?
Well, congratulations! You might be a war cleric. But what is a war cleric? Well, find yourself a god that doesn't mind a little rough negotiation, make sure your holy book is full of more than just hemostances, and do your best to not look like a maniac out there, even though we're having a lot of fun.
Yeah!
What is it good for?
Everything.
War and battle are ubiquitous to every society, from the humans to the orcs to the elves, and while every creature and every race will have disagreements, it seemingly didn't take long to figure out that you could end them quickly by just beating the piss out of the other team. Though it's unclear which came first, the idea of physical struggle to fulfill societal goals, or the gods that claim war as their domain. But either way, these beings of immense power reflect their admiration for combat through valor to their honored chosen.
Ares! Destroy my enemies, and my life is yours.
A war domain cleric finds peace in the heart of pitched combat, where legends are created and heroes are risen, but also where brutality and dominance reign supreme. The war cleric is a fighter first and foremost, running into battle to provide aid to allies, but also to smash in helmets with the best of them. Now, this may sound like the antithesis of what a cleric is supposed to be, but to the gods of war, you are a weapon as much as a champion. This means that noble gods like Torm or Heronius may choose a valiant leader to fight on their behalf, saving innocents and protecting the weak. Or some of the not-so-nice gods like Grumsh or Ares may choose a champion that sows chaos and destruction. It's up to you to decide which side you fight for, or if you fight for a side at all. You will be a warrior amongst warriors, a legend among legends, storming fields of battle, toppling hordes of enemies, and writing your name upon the world. The only question is, do you have the metal? But first, are you dying to be inspired for a new campaign? Do you need the perfect place to sort and share all your amazing ideas? Well, if this sounds like you need to check out longtime friend of the show, World Anvil. World Anvil is the very best place to organize your creativity all in one unique tool. Go absolutely nuts with World Anvil's custom world building software as you create the perfect tabletop campaign setting or write the next great novel. And with over 45 supported RPG systems, World Anvil is the very best way to play all your favorite games in one place. But for those in need of deep lore drops and amazing reveals, try out tools like mind mapping, family trees, timelines, plot templates, and so much more. All of this can be found at the link below, and for a limited time, you can get a yearly subscription to World Anvil for 51% off using my code YEMBADND at checkout. Once again, that's YMBADND at checkout for a whole year of World Anvil for 51% off. So, go forge your next adventure with World Anvil. A huge thanks to World Anvil for sponsoring the show. And now, back to the video. So you want to join the front lines and fight alongside the toughest men, women, and everything in between to ever don a gambeson? Well, then you might want to do some push-ups during seminary school because we're starting out as a cleric. But not just any cleric, because right away we get to choose our domain, and something about the taste of MREs and the smell of con-pea sweat just gets our juices flowing.
Let me see your war face.
That means we get to play with all the best toys with proficiency in martial weapons and heavy armor, nothing like quoting scripture while smashing in faces with a maul the size of a tree trunk, but we also immediately get an upgrade as a war priest, letting us take an additional attack as a bonus action a number of times a day equal to our wisdom modifier. 2 attacks at level 1 is kinda crazy, but combine that with a big bad weapon like a great axe or a maul, and so far we are actively one of the best damage dealers in a fight, and I haven't even mentioned spells. But of course I will, because clerics are a casting class, but our spells pack a little more wallop than our cleric cousins. Divine Favor and Shield of Faith are both great concentration spells that help you either on offense or defense depending on the circumstance. If you want a little more punch, Divine Favor adds a d4 of radiant damage to all your attacks, which again is super mean for a level 1 character, while Shield of Faith then upgrades your AC so you don't have to worry about getting hit nearly as often. Level 2 lets us channel our divinity, which does all kinds of neat stuff like turn the undead, making sure zombos see your war face. But I think we're all waiting for Guided Strike. This allows you to add an additional +10 to any attack roll as long as you slap it on there before your DM calls the hit. Meaning that if you're in that fun little area of 10 to 15 where a lot of stuff can block your attacks, you can boost that swing up into a real nasty whap. But this pairs so well with a lot of what you want to do, and since we get more uses of Channel Divinity later on, our little killing machine becomes a true menace in a fight. Third level gives us a few more spells, and while Magic Weapon is okay, giving you a +1 weapon if your DM hasn't already given you one, it kinda does become redundant at later levels. That's why I love Spiritual Weapon for a floating manifestation of your militant might, letting you summon a weapon of your choosing, from a cool mace to a giant broadsword to that thing your aunt brought to Thanksgiving because she was trying a new recipe and caused a family brawl to the toilet. That wasn't a personal story or anything. Anyway, this weapon deals radiant damage, floats around with a bonus action, and is somehow not concentration, which boggles my little pea-brain. So go nuts whacking dudes with your real sword, and then follow up with a Tuna Surprise for a devastating 1-2 punch. At level 5, Turn Undead becomes Destroy Undead, which is perfect for us. Turns out fighting the armies of the damned becomes much easier if instead of running in every direction, they just explode on sight. But we also get more Cleric spells, and Crusader's Mantle is a great start. It's basically an upgraded version of Divine Favor, allowing you to give everyone that 1d4 radiant damage boost in a 30-foot radius sphere. A really good Paladin spell usually, but you actually get it earlier and can get more uses out of it because you have more spell slots. Though if you find yourself lacking allies, Spiritual Guardians is where it's at. This spell summons a little army of your own, creating a 15-foot radius circle of badasses that not only cause damage to any creature that enters the circle, but slows those creatures as well. Pop this bad boy when you're fighting hordes of low-level monsters, and just run through the battlefield cutting down fools with an army of ghosts at your side. 6th level means another use of Channel Divinity, and of course we get the War God's Blessing. Now you can extend your Guided Strike to an ally as long as they're within 30 feet, and grant them a +10 to an attack roll instead. An amazing way to spend a Channel Divinity, as this can be the difference between a finishing blow or another round fighting a dragon. Level 7 is straight from heaven, as we get 2 spells to help us in a jam with Freedom of Movement and Stone Skin, just in case we need to escape a grapple or fell off a roof and want to eat all that fall damage. Level 8 means Divine Strikes or Blessed Strikes, but it's really up to you on this one. I like Divine Strike a bit better because I think you're probably going to be using your Stabby Boy a bit more than other clerics, and that extra 1d8 now is great, but 2d8 later gets pretty spicy. That means level 9 gives us spells like Hold Monster, which kinda does exactly what you think, holding creatures in place so you can come over and lay down a huge hit. And Flame Strike, which is a kinda worse version of Fireball, but also does radiant damage if you're up against a creature that hates that kinda thing. Finally, level 10 gives us Divine Intervention. This nifty little trick doesn't do much except, call up a god to give you a favor just because you asked real nice, but it does only have a 1 in 10 chance of actually working. Hilariously, the DM actually gets to decide what happens here, and while casting some sort of spell, whether cleric related or otherwise, is the most likely option, getting creative with the request is always pretty fun. But that's it for a minute. Clerics are kinda weird like that. So until our next ability, grab intense spells like Blade Barrier for a Wall of Swords, Hero's Feast, an absolutely amazing spell for a huge boost before combat, Divine Word to seriously mess with an opponent, giving them all kinds of ailments or possibly killing or banishing the creature entirely, or Earthquake if you just want to completely dominate the battlefield. But that gets us to level 17, where we become an Avatar of Battle. Here we gain resistance to all bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. Hell yeah! From non-magical attacks. Oh. This is my only complaint against this subclass, is this ability is a little bad. Non-magical attacks is very limiting, as almost all creatures at this point have some sort of magical attack. On top of that, things like fall damage are not considered an attack, so it doesn't work for that either. Oh. Dang. So close to like a perfect subclass, and we just miffed it right at the end. Maybe our god can fix that at level 20 with perfect divine intervention, making sure anytime we call our god they will pick up. Just remember, war gods are busy and temperamental, so maybe chatting up Athena will be easier than, grumpy McDaddy issues. So, does the War Domain Cleric bring honor to the battlefield? The War Domain Cleric is really good, and for me, one of those multi-classes made in heaven. Taking either Fighter or Paladin for 5 levels and the rest in War Domain is a dastardly combo, especially if you can get that Cleric level to 8 or 14. You're not really missing out on the higher level spells as a Cleric, and that level 17 just isn't good enough in my opinion to care about. So skipping it to get a martial subclass and an extra attack is awesome. Combine that with your bonus action attack and guided strike, and you're looking at a really powerful Gish type character that I think could hang with the best of them if given the chance. I also think the War Domain's flexibility in casting alongside a good spell list separates it from the other clerics enough to be its own thing. Comparing it to the Twilight Cleric could be its closest in terms of abilities, but what I like is while that subclass is focused on healing, you're focused on raw damage output, which is a fun change for a cleric. You are a one-person army, start acting like it. But honestly, this dude is just so solid. And while other clerics are pretty strong, making a nice Gish out of a cleric class is both welcome and fun. Even if you don't multi-class, you still have a lot to do, as long as you, or I guess your friends, don't mind keeping the healing to a minimum. But if they say anything, we can just show them our war face. So if you love the smell of goblin flesh in the morning, once got kicked out of the mess hall for taking too long blessing the food, and can't help but enter every fight blaring a banger,
Some folks are born made to wave the flag. Ooh, they're red, white, and blue.
guess what? You might be a war cleric. Hey guys, I can't thank you all enough for watching. If you like this episode, you know what to do, but if you know a war cleric in your party and want to give them a good laugh, why don't you also share that as well? If you really like what I do, you can always support me right here as a channel member or go over on Patreon, where top-tiered patrons will get exclusive games DM'd by me. So to those guys, King Osiris, Sin, Miles Nyard, Spider Lover, and Tedsy, you all are the best, and I can't wait to play again. For everyone else, I hope you have a good one, and I'll see you very soon.